greetings from Berkshire Guitar Amplifier Repairs. Stuart Smith here as always, and on the bench today we have a VOX AC30 head. Now this is a bit of an unusual one because the customer said he noticed the reverb was getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and then finally the amplifier packed up and it's got no output at all apparently. I'm not quite sure whether the power light comes on. My gut feeling is those problems are not related, two completely separate things, but I could be wrong. So the first thing I'm going to do is to power this up and see if we get any power lights, and then we'll pop the chassis and see what's going on inside. Now a quick look along the top of this amp. It looks quite clean to me. Probably not terribly old. Bits of red tape to mark where he has his preferred settings, no doubt. So let's try powering it up. I do have a speaker connected. Okay, well, a bonus, the light comes on, and take it out standby, and that light comes on. So it's out of standby now. I've got a speaker connected and there's nothing at all coming from my speaker. Not the slightest noise. Just try the guitar. I'm not hopeful, no, nothing. So this is, as reported, completely and utterly dead. I can't remember whether this has an HT fuse inside. Let's pop the back off and have a look. Well, as ever with the VOXes, we have the 117 screws on the outside, just to make absolutely certain that this doesn't fall off. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Just 15 screws holding this on. Well, we'll make a start and take some of them off. 114. I think that should just about do it. Will the back come off? I mean, of course the back won't come off. I mean, that would be too much to expect, and there's virtually no way of getting in there with a screwdriver. So there we go. Really chunky back this as well, really thick. How thick that is. Well, at least you can see everything now, and let's have a little look inside here. I think we'll just have a scan along, see if we can see anything obvious. Right, so here we go. I can't really look at anything whilst I'm filming, so there's a couple of fuses there. We might get lucky. One of them may have gone. Nothing obvious on the circuit board, but I'll have a little closer look once I've done this. And down here, switchable power on this, look. 30 watts, 3 watts and a third of a watt. That's nice. I think it's a nice feature. It means you can play in your bedroom without deafening the neighbours. 4 EL84s, from what I can see they all look okay, but we can't really tell that until we've tested them. And I think they're just Chinese valves. So let me now see if these fuses are intact. I have my meter on continuity so that when I touch the terminals together I get a buzz. So let's see what's going on here. Make sure we're disconnected. Yes, we are. That one's okay, and that one's okay. That's a pity. Well, the next thing I want to do is to see if the valves are lighting up. So I'm going to plug a speaker back in. Where are we here? Put the power back in and turn on again. And out of standby. So let's see what's happening here. Oh, that's interesting. Not convinced the valves are lighting up. No. That's quite unusual. That is very rare for me to have an amplifier where the valves don't light up, because obviously the heater circuit's usually fairly straightforward. It's just a 6.3 volt winding. This is not working at all. These are completely stone cold and there's no light at all in them. So that's why this is utterly dead, this amp. Now we need to find out how this gets its heater power. They're not easy to work on, these boxes. A standard sort of printed circuit board layout where it's not easy to get the boards out and that type of thing. I can see another little sub board lurking behind here with some power resistors on, but I suspect those are kind of power soaks or something for this. This might just be a switched attenuator down here which is doing the switching of the power. I don't know how they do it on this, but there's some hefty power resistors lurking in there, so it might just be a power soak effectively. So how is this getting its heater voltage? Okay, let's make a start on some fault finding. We're interested in heater voltage. It's normally 6.3 volts, and I reckon it comes out on these two yellows. Yellow is a common colour for heater windings, and also look, this fuse here is labelled 250 volt heater fuse here, and it goes straight to this yellow. The other one goes to this point here, these two 220 ohm resistors. They may be something to do with hum balance, but I'm not going to get too involved in that at the moment. I want to see if there's any 6.3 volts heater. So to do that, we can go on one side of the fuse here, which is this yellow, and this point here, which is the other yellow. So let's have a look. There we go. 6.9 volts heater voltage, AC, that's perfectly okay. Is it getting through the fuse? Ah! Now that's interesting, because watch this. Put the meter on continuity, check the fuse, and we have half an ohm there. That's very strange. I assumed that fuse was okay. Right, well let me just pop it out. It's not getting through there anyway. Can't really see whether that's blown or not. Ah, that fuse is blown. And interestingly enough, we have half an ohm across there. Strange. I mean, that will go via all the heaters and then back to here, so maybe that's all the heater filaments I'm measuring there. Yes, that is possible, but it's quite a low resistance, that. Okay, well, the obvious thing to do is to see what value this fuse is. It is, I'd expect quite a high value, 6.3 amp time delay. Right, so I think we can probably do a lot worse than just popping another one in and seeing what happens. Let's just do that. Don't think we can do too much damage doing that. Right, I have hundreds of these fuses, so that's good. 6.3 amp in there. I think I'll turn the power off here. We don't need the standby switch to be on. I'll put that in here and see if this blows straight away, basically, is what we're interested in. It didn't. Do we have any heater? Yeah, the valves are lighting up. I want to check all of these valves, but for the moment let's see what's going on. Yeah, they're all lighting up, okay. Oh well, let's put a speaker in and take it out of standby. Yeah, it's buzzing, it's humming. Let's put a signal in. Interesting. Okay, well, for some reason that had blown a 6.3 volt heater fuse, which was which was a time delay 6.3 amp fuse. Might have just have been one of those things. However, I am going to take all of these valves out anyway, just as a matter of course, and test them. I don't like these cheap Chinese EL84s very much, so I want to check that they're all okay and working. At the moment it all seems to be working. Now the reverb pan is extremely difficult to get to. It's down in there. Basically you have to take the chassis out. The chassis does come out via these via 4 bolts in the side here. The whole chassis comes out. The reverb pan's in the bottom. So I think I was correct in that this weak reverb that he's complaining about is nothing whatsoever to do with the amp now dying. Those did seem to be unrelated faults to me. So just see what happens if we turn the reverb up. Are we getting any reverb? Yes, they're alright. Turn it down to medium. This is quite distorted, this amp. I'm wondering if there is something wrong here. I'm on 3 watts here. Turn to 30 watts. That's better. And 1/3 of a watt. Interesting, gives a quite crunchy. Quite crunchy at 1/3 of a watt. I like this. Nothing wrong with that reverb. There's 30 watts. That's really very loud. Alright, well I think I'm going to turn this off. And I want to check the bias as well. Not that that would have anything to do with the heater fuse blowing. The only reason for a heater fuse to blow is maybe a faulty valve pulling too much heater current, or just sometimes fuses have had their day and they kind of pack it in. There's quite a bit of current going through that fuse. You've got 2, 4, 6, 7 valves. What's that? You know, it's over half an amp per valve, I think. So there's 4 amps going through it normally. Might have just given up the ghost. So I'm going to test all the valves and then I will report back to you on what I find, but it's looking promising. At the customer's request, I have removed these 4 original, probably to the amplifier, cheap Chinese EL84s, and I've put in a new set of JJs there. Looking a little bit wonky, some of them. Let's get that straight. There we go, and we're now ready to switch on and make sure everything works okay. Okay, we're ready to power up with the new valves in. Make sure everything's working. Power is on. Guitar plugged in. And out of standby. Let's see if we've got anything. Oh, sounding promising. Sounds good. He was a little bit worried about the reverb level, but I don't think it sounds too bad. That sounds alright, that. And 1/3 of watt. Quite crunchy, which is nice. And then the full wattage, 30 watt. Great. That sounds absolutely great. Okay, well the final thing to do is to get the back on and to put in the 113 screws, which I think I've just about got in this pot here. I put a little drop of oil on each of the screws before I put them in, just a little drop of oil there. I don't oil the whole screw, just one drop there, and then screw it in. I do that on every threaded screw that I put back into an amplifier, just a little habit. So I'll get the back on and we can consider this one done. Well, there you go, another one under our belts. Relatively straightforward. I don't really know why that heater fuse blew, but the customer did say they'd had a few power outages and power cuts at his house, so maybe it was something to do with that. Just one of those things, possibly. We'll just have to wait and see. So there we go, heater fuse replaced, new set of valves, and it's all good to go. Thanks as ever for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.